Shabbat Shalom, Yasharal. I pray everyone's well. I said that the next video would be about this topic. I have to do what's right and address something in the comment section regarding this topic, but from the first glance, it will seem that it's not about this topic, but at its core, it actually is. I'm going to show you some comments between me and someone who I have, for the last 2 years, I think, called my friend. In prior videos, I've said, I've never said anything but good about her. I pointed out how she danced around questions that I asked her, but I did make sure to mention that I know she didn't do it out of any ill will towards me, that she does truly care and have compassion, right? I'm not going to show you this to set anyone out, to mock or slander anyone. And it's after we've had a private conversation, and the only reason I'm doing this is for edification's sake by anyone that can benefit from it. And it's got to be done because as far as what happens to me, it's something I deal with daily. People come on my post or come at me out here in the world, and they will falsely accuse me of something. And when I ask them to show me how, so I can apologize, they never do. And these are people who proclaim to be Christians, Yasharal, whatever. If they're on my post or critiquing me about something I said regarding the Most High and His Word, then they need to practice what they preach, right? Now, am I on here to point someone out that they're not practicing what they're preaching? No. I'm pointing something out so those people who might be doing that sort of thing and not be aware of how that action is hatred, they might realize that and stop. But like usual, my expectation isn't that anyone who already knows this, anyone who don't already know it, won't. They won't acknowledge it. They'll probably deny it. That's my expectation. But I am someone who takes this serious. This is not a game. I want to practice what I preach and be bowdy. And I'm not going to say you can say what you want anymore. I'm just going to say go, because I know people are going to say what they want. So people come to me. I'm not going to talk about what I see everywhere else, and it is all over the place. People will come and have something to say about something I said or something someone else is saying that on my post or out here in the world, and they will accuse, right? But then when you ask that person to show you how they are correct and that is actually the case, they never do. They just want to belittle you, right? And they want to be correct, and they want to be seen, I guess. So here's my little sister, Miss E, right here. Right there. Let's just look at her comment. This is her first one, I believe. Let me look. Yeah. I asked the question, who can tell me what it means to be washed in the blood of the Messiah and what it means to plead it over someone or something? And she said, where does Yahuwah say to be washed in blood? What does Yahuwah say about blood? Should you really be bathing in it? How should being washed in the blood of the Lamb be looked at when Yahuwah specifically says that the slaughtering of the Lamb was judgment on Pharaoh's gods, his Lamb God, specifically Amun-Ra, the cattle god, his angel of death God, but you are turning it around to say that we should bathe in the slaughtering. When has Yahuwah ever said anything to do with that? Do that with blood. The Torah is very clear when it says abstain from blood. But why does the New Testament glorify this? And I will let you know, too, that she is highly intelligent and she knows her shit. So I'm not at all taking anything from her as far as what she knows. I'm just, I want to, and like I said, not to throw her under the bus. And you'll see that I'm in no way doing that. And bear with me, you'll see how we should behave and how we should, where we should be coming from. We should all be, if we're on here conversating, politicking, talking about the Most High, any of this stuff, if we're not on here to edify, to love, and fellowship, then there's some other reason, and it's not a good one, that we're on here. And I'm going to tell you right now, this sister, she believes that the New Testament is false and it's a myth and it was made by the elites to confuse. And that's not what we're going to debate right now. I'm not going to tell you that she's wrong or right on any of that. If you know, if you're my sub and you've been here, you should know how what I believe about all that. And I'm going to tell you, though, about one spot in the New Testament that is correct, and this is an example of that. When Paul said, you can do all things, but if you don't have love, you're just making noise. If you're someone who thinks you're going to the kingdom and you got it and you know all these things, you must, because you're coming at me and critiquing me and saying that I'm wrong or whatever. You're in the conversation, so you must believe. That's all fine and dandy. But if you ain't walking in love and showing me or anyone else love, it doesn't matter what you know, who you are, what your name is, what you've done, your works, how good you've kept the Torah. You might as well quit it all. because the whole point in all of it is to teach us to walk with humility, which is loving everyone around us, walking in the absolute opposite of hatred. So we read her comment. She said, Torah is very clear when it says abstain from blood, but why does the New Testament glorify this? I said, sis, you're on point about people believing this, and you're right to expose it. But what you're failing to see and exclude in your New Testament statement is the words of Messiah, which is in the New Testament. And I only say that, I say that also because this isn't the first conversation that we've had about this very subject. She doesn't believe that Messiah existed. And you'll see that. I said, go find where he says you didn't exclude in the New Testament statement. What you didn't exclude is the words of Messiah. Go find where he says anything that you, being a Torah delighter, and she should have a problem with. Bring it back here, and I'll do the right thing. Love you, shalom. The Messiah, King David. Okay, you see this right here. This is what I mean by dancing. I said, sis, you're on point about people believing this, and you're right to expose it. But what you're failing to see and exclude in your statement about the New Testament is the words of Messiah. So you see why I had to say that, because she said that the New Testament is teaching all that, like witchcraft or whatever, right? And I said, if you're saying that, go find where the Messiah said anything close to what you're saying and bring it back here and show us, because that's a broad statement. You're saying that the Messiah said things like that, and he has never, right? I said, so bring it back and I'll do the right thing. I'll apologize and say you're right. And then she says, the Messiah is King David, not who the New Testament claims it is and what they claim about the Messiah. Nowhere does Yahuwah or his prophets say that the Messiah saves. But why does the New Testament say that Yahusha, Jesus, does the saving? So you see, you should know how I feel, so I don't need to tell you what I believe. So I'm going to say this. Whether she is right or wrong, hypothetically, about what she's saying about the Messiah being David and all this, that is irrelevant to this conversation. Because I asked her, and this is what she's done several times, and like I said, I'm not doing this to pick on her. I'm doing this in hopes that, for one, people who do this might recognize what this actually is in case that they are unaware of reality. And so it's recorded, because we are to practice what we preach. We are to not only love in speech, but in actions and deeds. That's what this is. I'm showing you that I love. And I don't expect anyone to do it. I hope that someone will. So she never answered my question. She started talking about something that I never asked her about. I said, really? Trying to dance with me again, huh? What was my question above? Does your comment relate in any way? I'll be waiting. I guess your question is not clear to me. Saying that I'm dancing around you is not accurate and poor intuition of what you are thinking of me. Please rephrase the question because I am not getting what you're specifically asking. I told you a minute ago she's highly intelligent. Let's look at my question. What you're failing to see and exclude in your New Testament statement is the words of Messiah. Go find where he says anything that you, being a Torah delighter, should have a problem with. Bring it back here and I'll do the right thing. Just like in my post, right? In my video. The whole reason I made the video, the whole reason I made this post was because, like she said, nowhere in Scripture does it tell us to do what this says. It don't tell us to say things like, I plead the blood of the Messiah over you. But she's claiming that it does. Those who do this are people. Where they got it from, I don't know, but it ain't Scripture. So she's saying that the New Testament preaches that. And I didn't want to say for sure that Paul and Peter and all them, because they probably do. I don't know. I ain't speaking for them. But I've never seen the Messiah say anything close. So I said, go show me where the Messiah said that and bring it back. Because she does think the Messiah said that. She says, she's told me that I am committing idolatry because I believe that the Messiah and the Father are one. And I've told her probably about 5 times. I don't know why you keep saying that. I do not believe that, and you've never heard me say that. The opposite. And she'll say, well, then why does the New Testament say that? And I tell her, it doesn't. Messiah never does say that. So that's what I was asking her. But instead, she wanted to dance around and respond in no way that she needs me to rephrase the question and that she don't understand why I would say that she's dancing around and that it's not clear to her. I said, can you show me where Messiah said that? Back up what you're saying. Bring it here, because I don't know where it is, and I will apologize and say, yep, you're right. She knows what I'm saying. This ain't the first time I've asked her to do this, right? And like I said, don't think I'm pointing her out to pick on her. I'm not. Spoiler, I gave her the opportunity to do this. And you'll see that I am hoping that she can, because I don't want her to look like what most people do, slander. I don't want her to be seen as a slander. I don't want anyone, but they do, right? And I'm not talking about them. They're going to do what they do. I'm talking about those of us who are about the Most High and love, but because we want to correct someone, a lot of times people who I don't want to believe that they're someone that just wants to slap someone and offer no help. And if they are, they must not realize what they're doing. And I want to help if I can, and I want to do the right thing. I said, no, it's crystal clear, sis. I said, where does, regardless of how you see he's fiction or not, that's nothing to do with my comment. The words of Messiah in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John say anything remotely close. Then I said, go find it, bring it back here, then I'll do the right thing. It's right there to see, sis. Come on now. One knockdown drag out at a time. Tell me that part about pride again. Your comment is rank with it to assume that I knew what you were trying to convey. She said, the Torah is very clear when it says abstain from blood, which is right. But why does the New Testament glorify this? I said, you're right on. But you need to exclude in that statement the words of Messiah. And I already know, and I got it. I've got proof from prior conversations that she does think that the Messiah said these things. So I said, exclude the words of Messiah. Go find where he said that. So the reason I had to say that right there, what I said, was she painted a broad stroke and boxed the Messiah's words in with the whole New Testament. And his words are perfection. And if you don't think so, show me how they're not. I'll go out on all limbs because I know you won't be able to. I've told her, we can debate whether he's real or not. But what about what the words that allegedly came from his mouth say? What about them words? Do you have a problem with what he said? If you're a Torah delighter, you shouldn't have any issue at all, regardless of whether it's fiction or not. But she clearly does. I had to ask her to set the record straight. And if I knew for a fact, like I do, that the Messiah didn't say anything like that in the Word, if I knew that Paul and Peter didn't say anything like that, I don't know. So, because I know the Messiah didn't, I said you needed to exclude. She knows what I'm talking about. I said, so go find where he said anything that you, being a Torah delighter, should have a problem with. Bring it back here, and I'll do the right thing. And she knows what I meant there, that I'll apologize. So, let me tell you, she understands perfectly well. Okay? And I'll tell you right now, I still don't believe she's dancing because she just don't want to be seen as wrong. She don't. She more than likely refuses to go because she thinks that I know that she's right and that I'm the one dancing, right? Well, I've told her I will bring the proof, but I asked her. And instantly, her initial response wasn't to reply to what I asked her. It was to go on and start a debate about a whole separate topic altogether, right? Which is wrong. It's wrong to do. This isn't a game. I'm not on here to play I'm smarter than you and have a pissing contest. I want to do what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I'm doing. So she called me. She said, tell me the part about pride again. Your comment is rank with it to assume that I knew what you were trying to convey. Really. Don't ever do that to me again, brother. If I said that I am not understanding that, don't mock me for saying so. Truly prideful of a response, but if that's how you roll, then I ain't about that humbleness, right? I can't give you that because what you say about the Messiah is not what Yahuwah says or his prophets say about Yahuwah's Messiah. So wait as long as you feel you need to. I don't believe who you and the nation say is the Messiah. What is said is not the same. See? So anyone who can think rationally and who will judge this righteously and honestly will see I'm not saying that I'm smarter than her. I'm not insinuating anything. She came on, laid a claim. I asked her to prove it. And now, because she doesn't believe in the Messiah, she said right there, she don't have to. She ain't gonna show me anything. I can wait as long as I want. And not only that, she accused me of being prideful, okay? And I can't, this is on her, I can't do anything about it. And I'm not going to show you all the rest of it. I'll show you my comment. I think, is there another one where I commented? That makes no sense. Well, I guess it does if you refuse to go look, if you know that it will prove you wrong. You're going to try to tell me you won't look to see if the words you are preaching are there. Preaching or there are actually there or not because of how other people believe. That is the most ridiculous thing I've heard. And not because you refuse, because you disagree with the belief, but because you are proclaiming they're there, but unwilling to prove it right here for anyone to see. This is only going to make you out to be lying, sis. And I gave you an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is. And I'm acting haughty. I simply asked you to prove what you say. Let's go back to my comment. This is why I'm doing it right here. I said, sis, you're on point about people believing this. And you're right to expose it. But what you're failing to see and exclude in your New Testament statement is the words of Messiah. Go find where he says anything that you would have a problem with, or the Torah, and bring it right back here, and I'll do the right thing. I'm not crazy. I know that there's nowhere in that comment where you'll find me being prideful or haughty, right? So this is why I'm doing this. Regardless of whether Paul and all them were wrong or right, like I said in the beginning, Paul said one thing that was absolutely right. I don't care if he was an Illuminati child carnivore, pedivore. I don't care. I mean, I care, but it doesn't matter what he is. If the words that I'm going to quote are true, then they're true. If they're false, then they're false. It doesn't matter where they came from. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about whether the words are true. He said, I can talk in languages of angels. I can do all these things. It doesn't matter. She can claim all she wants about who the Messiah, and I'm not, y'all know how I believe. That's not what we're talking about. She could be right about everything, you know? But because she will falsely accuse me in public to slander me, and the only reason I could see why someone would do this right here, she's not afraid, you know, if she really believes that the Messiah is fake and all that, she would have no problem showing us why she's saying what she's saying. And she says she won't, and she's claiming it's because I'm prideful and haughty and all this, which I wasn't. Okay? She is like Paul said, if I don't have love, I'm just a drum or whatever. I'm just making noise. Okay? If you're on here just making noise, I can tell you that the Most High will, and He has said, woe to you. If you're mocking His word like a big floppy-eared jackass, and I'm not saying that's what she is, but if you're proclaiming, coming to people's conversations and claiming things falsely, you're a floppy-eared lion slanderer who only wants to attack. And if that's you, I hope you hear this and you realize, just in case, if you don't realize it, you wake up and you understand it don't matter. You can walk perfectly. You could keep everything, every commandment perfectly. But if you don't keep the one that says love your neighbor as yourself, you might as well just go and whatever, because you're doing all that for nothing. For nothing. For show. For show and tell. So you can tell everyone that you do it. You can show everyone how you've studied and researched and done all this. You've offered no love. And I can show you anybody, if you want, you can go look at all this. And I got our private conversation recorded. You can see that I told her, I said, I asked her in the private conversation, I said, can you show me where I was haughty? And if you can, if I am, I don't see it, but if you do, and I see that I was, I'll go back on there and apologize. And she wanted to do it in the private, and I said, in the private conversation, I said, no, because we need to be who we say we are. We can't be out here saying all this if we're not going to back it up and stand on that. If you find it, put it on there, show me, I'll admit to it and apologize so people won't be thinking that you're just falsely accusing me. She said she did, but at first she didn't want to. She wanted to do it, and then at the end of the conversation, I told her I wasn't saying another thing to her until she did it, and she typed what she said she was going to say and asked me if I was okay with it, and I didn't reply to that. I see a lot of people that I do believe love people, and they're not out just to attack people, but when they come on someone's post and they correct someone, but aren't willing to show why anybody should believe what you're saying, it's if you are unwilling to do it, that's hatred. You're hating people. If you ain't willing to show love and stop being hateful, then you might as well just go be a frickin' Satanist or something, because you're doing it for nothing. Love is the ultimate lesson that we have to learn. The ultimate behavior that we have to learn to walk in. And it's humility. Humility and love is one and the same. And it's also the same as understanding. If you want to dance, you're not understanding, you're prideful, and you don't love. I don't want anyone to say anything to my sister Eon here. Because if you do, you'll be no better. But what I want for anyone, what I hope that someone might take away from this is we need to bring proof and back up what we say. If you can't, then shut up. Because if you're only here to make people look stupid who you feel are stupid, you don't want to help them. You want them to look stupid. That's on the other side, the side of heading for destruction. And if I didn't say anything about it, I'd be right there with you. But I did, because I don't want to be Big D.